Earlier this year, DJI, seemingly the most prolific drone maker in the world right now, announced the newest entry in their Mavic line. Mavic is DJI's prosumer, highly portable cinematic set of drones. They've had a couple different generations of Mavic drones, but the Mavic Mini is especially interesting because of its weight. The FAA and other aviation regulating bodies around the world have agreed that 250 grams or higher is the threshold where drones have to be registered and are subject to other rules that lighter drones are not. So DJI decided to meet that line by making a drone that was 249 grams. And that's the key to the Mavic Mini above all other things. DJI went to lengths to make sure that everyone knows that the Mavic Mini is under that 250 gram line. You can see it printed right on the body of the drone, 249 grams. They want nobody to make any mistake about the fact that this drone is not subject to those rules. Having a drone this light has a lot of advantages. In addition to just not having to worry about some of the regulatory stuff that applies to larger drones, the portability of this thing is phenomenal. In fact, the whole setup, including the battery charger and the controller, all fits in a small case that fits easily in my backpack with room to spare. The Mavic also includes the same 3-axis gimbal arrangement for the camera that you find on other Mavic drones. What this means is you're still going to get great photo and video footage from this drone, even with one that's as small as it is. Perhaps the best feature of the Mavic Mini, though, aside from all the other technical specs that it has and the great portability that it offers, is the price. The basic drone offering starts at $400. And if you want the Fly More package, which I got, it's only another $100. So for $500, you get a drone that's bringing the kind of cinematic quality that was in drones 3 or 4 times its cost only a few years ago. Obviously right here, we got the actual drone. Holy smokes, that's light. You don't really realize how light 249 grams is until you hold this thing. My iPhone is noticeably heavier than this. Unfortunately, it's raining today, which, of course, perfect timing. Get a new drone, there's rain, not ideal. So, for the first flight with this thing, I'm going to go ahead and put on the propeller guards because I'm going to have to fly it indoors. There's no way I am waiting until the weather gets better to be able to fly this thing. I do not have the patience for that. So I've moved into the den, which is probably the best room to do that flight in. As you can see, there's not a lot in here, so there's also not a lot that I can hit with the drone. And that should give me enough space to kind of get a sense of at least the basic controls and just kind of play around with it a little bit. past couple of days since the Mavic Mini arrived, it's been raining pretty much non-stop. However, this morning I woke up and the rain had finally ended, and it actually had snowed a little bit overnight, which made for some really cool footage when I flew the drone this morning. DJI has knocked it out of the park with the Mavic Mini. This is the first drone that I've ever owned, and outside of a few hours on a friend's Mavic Pro, the first drone I've really ever flown. As you just saw, I am by no means a pro with this thing yet. But after only a couple of hours of flying it, I'm already getting pretty passable shots. Learning how to fly the Mini is surprisingly easy, and it's really forgiving, especially for first-time drone flyers. There are a few places where the drone's entry-level price point and feature list, as well as its size, can reveal a few weaknesses. I did notice a number of times flying it around my neighborhood that I would get warnings from the app that I was in a high wind condition and the drone was struggling to fight against the elements. This usually only happened when the drone was above about 100 feet, so if you're closer to the ground, you're unlikely to encounter that unless you're basically in a gale storm. The lack of any sort of collision detection or object avoidance capabilities within the drone can be annoying if you're in an environment with a lot of objects that could get in its way. We're starting to see these sorts of systems on higher end drones at this point, so I would imagine within a couple of years that'll end up being table stakes for almost any drone on the market. But right now, it's not something you're going to find in a drone at the price point that the Mini is at. I've seen comparison videos on YouTube where people put the Mavic Mini up against maybe the Mavic Pro 2 or another comparable drone to demonstrate the differences between the image quality that you get from each of the drones. And there is definitely a noticeable difference when you look at those videos side by side. However, you're talking about a drone with the Mavic Pro 2 that is as much as 3 times as expensive as the Mavic Mini. So when you factor in the cost for what you're getting, the bang for the buck is pretty much impossible to beat with anything else on the market right now. I can pretty much guarantee that almost every video I make in the near future is going to include some footage shot with the Mavic Mini. This thing is absolutely getting added to my standard travel bag. It's so portable and convenient that at this point I basically want to have it with me wherever I go. Overall, I am super impressed with the Mavic Mini, and I'm really looking forward to being able to put it through its paces in some other environments.